take your time, Logan.
Move over.
I start though.
Yeah.
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 Miss Brenner. Ready?
Is the mic on?
It should be on? Okay. Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to welcome you to STEM Innovation Academy's first ever school debate, where we have devoted the evening to exploring 3 very important resolutions for the future of our generation: nuclear energy, large-scale data centers, and electrical vehicle transition within Alberta.
We would like to thank you all for taking the time to be here, whether you're here to cheer on your peers, learn something new, or simply just enjoy the thrill of debate. My name is Prisha Parmar, and this is Carmen Calon, and we are your hosts for today.
Before we get started, we would like to welcome Mr. Hoffman and Mr. Hayden, the principal of our North Campus, to give their opening remarks.
Thanks, everyone. In a moment, Mr. Hoffman will speak, as he always does, with passion and vigor around the evening that you're about to witness. Let me first bring greetings from the STEM IA admin team. Let me echo what the ladies said and offer some thank yous to our parents for being the sounding boards, for engaging with our students in those fierce dinner time and breakfast table debates that have sharpened the skills of your students that you'll be able to see on full display tonight. To our teachers, thank you for creating this wonderful opportunity. The early morning and lunchtime practices have created an awesome opportunity for our students. And to our students, there's a real nervous energy in our building right now, not so different than 5 minutes before the tip-off of a basketball game or 5 minutes before the curtain drops on a school musical. Thank you for your passion, your energy, your early morning practices. The opportunity that you're going to have here tonight is unique, and we thank you for the energy, the time that you've put into this, and the way you're about to represent STEM Innovation Academy. Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Hayden. Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the inaugural STEM Innovation Academy Energy Debates. Tonight is more than students sharing and parents and teachers admiring. It marks a critical step in building legacy. In just a few moments, you'll hear from students who are not only literate in science and technology, not only courageous in the public square, but who understand and communicate the complex issues that affect us all. These are not the leaders of tomorrow, they are leaders of now. Energy is the backbone of our economy building and our sovereignty. It sits at the center of climate discourse and presents us with an opportunity for innovation not seen since the race to the moon. This event is a milestone in our mission to foster not just knowledge, but wisdom in action. These debates are not merely about persuasion, they're about shaping understanding. And they're a reminder that civil discourse, grounded in evidence and delivered with conviction, remains the greatest force for meaningful change. To our judges, thank you for lending your time and expertise. To our parents, thank you for the daily sacrifices you've made to support your children on this journey. To our student organizers, you are the hands and hearts behind the scenes. This event could not happen without you. To our teachers, your actions speak for you. You said yes to this event on March 10th, and you've been saying yes before, during, and after school ever since. That is your testament. And to our energy muse, Dr. Robin Owens, would you please stand up for a second? Please give her some love. Thank you. This journey began when you brought us the Alberta Energy Game simulation 3 years ago. Thank you for your vision and your continuing commitment to energy education and to STEM Innovation Academy's mission. Thank you. And most importantly, to our debaters, thank you for the hours you've invested. Whether you personally or agree or disagree with the arguments you present, know this: you are helping us better understand the issues that will shape our collective future. Welcome, everyone, to the first of many debates at STEM Innovation Academy.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman and Mr. Hayden. Now we would like to go through some housekeeping for our event. For our judges, food has been provided in the judges' room. For debaters and volunteers, you should have been able to pick up your food during setup. Washrooms are located by the front entrance. For the duration of the debate, please turn off your phones and technology and give your full attention to our debaters. If you have any questions, feel free to contact one of our volunteers and/or teachers.
As for tonight's schedule, our first debate will be nuclear energy, followed by large-scale data centers, and finally, electric vehicles. The duration of each debate will be approximately 45 minutes. Prior to beginning the debates, we invite all of our audience members to vote on their opinion for each resolution. Please scan the QR codes located on the screen and around the room on posters. After all the debates, we will do this again. We can then compare results and see if our audience members changed their minds because of our debaters.
After each debate is complete, the debaters and judges from that resolution will be guided into a separate room to debrief and discuss feedback. During this time, the next debate will begin.
Each team has worked incredibly hard to research and prepare their arguments for this evening. Now, before we jump into any of these interesting debates, let's take a moment to go over the regulations for today.
A few rules to keep in mind. First, the moderator will be presiding over the debate. They will not have an active role in the debate unless necessary to protect the rights of a participant. However, the decisions of the moderator are final and cannot be appealed. Debaters must follow their decisions without dispute.
We ask all participants to please uphold respectful conduct towards other debaters and officials. This means no interrupting or distracting behavior during an opponent's speech. Additionally, there should be no personal comments towards other debaters, and we encourage clapping for our debaters, but please keep this to in between speeches and not during.
And as for our debaters, all remarks made must be relevant to the debate resolution, and any claim made should be backed up with reliable sources. If a speaker is challenged on a fact, they must be ready to cite the authority behind it.
And remember, judges will take note of any inaccurate or exaggerated claims, and these could be taken as deductions during final scoring. This acts as a reminder for our debaters to please stay honest and integrable while we're debating.
Additionally, only officials and debaters may speak during the debate. Debaters will present their arguments while standing if able. Debaters should aim for a natural, conversational delivery, as judges may penalize debaters for something overly memorized or robotic. Debaters will be granted the opportunity to speak by the moderator.
We know that the energy in this room can get intense during our debates, but let's all commit to creating an atmosphere that is competitive and respectful for all of our debaters.
With all of that said, it's time to get started. Get ready to engage your mind and explore new perspectives. Good luck to all of our debaters, and let the debates begin.
In the quiet town of Pripyat, Ukraine, an ordinary night in April 1986 turned catastrophic when the reactor 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded. Decades later, in 2011, the world watched again as a tsunami struck Fukushima, Japan, causing another nuclear emergency. These events sparked fear, protest, and outrage within a variety of different communities. Yet today, as Alberta faces growing energy demands, pressure to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and the long-term negative effect of fossil fuels, nuclear energy is presented once more, not as a threat, but as a possible solution. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah Mack, and I'm honored to be your MC for today's first debate. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to STEM Innovation Academy's first debate within the junior high. Before we begin, we'd like to recognize the judges for our first debate of the evening. Sarah Wakas, Keenan McNeil, Dee Anford, and Dee Anford Revens. Sarah Wakas is a grade 10 student at STEM Innovation Academy, passionate about science research, advocacy, and pushing youth to debate and engage with diverse perspectives to broaden their worldviews. Sarah participated in the 2024 to 2025 ADSA season and won first place speaker and team at both events which she competed in. Outside of debating, Sarah works closely with kids with neurodevelopment disorders by them teaching life skills like cooking, engaging in independent research on precision medicine, and working as a research assistant at the Precision Neural Development Lab. Sarah is excited to watch these aspiring debaters flesh out these motions. Keenan McNeil was a successful debater in Calgary while he was in middle school and high school, and in 2010, he won the World School Debating Championship as a member of Team Canada. Keenan later became a lawyer and now works as a litigator at Peacock Linder Halt Mac LLP. Colin Craig P. Eng is a seasoned professional with extensive experience across energy and civil engineering sectors. A graduate of University of Calgary, Colin has spent over a decade working with leading engineering firms, contributing to a wide range of infrastructural and industrial projects. Currently serving as the Chief Strategy Officer at Journey Engineering Corporation, he plays a key role at shaping the company's long-term direction and growth. In addition to his executive role, Colin runs an independent engineering consulting business, where he advises clients on project development, technical solutions, and strategic planning. D. Anford Revens is a clinical scientist and consultant in the field of medical physics. Ms. Radford Evans has collaborated with physicians, nurses, and academics and has presented her clinical work and research internationally. She's trained graduate students, coordinated academic programs, and she does science outreach to help kids access quality STEM programming. She's held various positions on sports, education boards, and committees. Ms. Radford Evans holds a Bachelor of Science Physics from the University of Calgary and an MCSC in Medical Physics from the University of Texas. She currently works as in the Medical Physics Department at the Tom Baker Cancer Center. The first resolution that will be argued is stated as follows. Be it resolved that Alberta should adopt nuclear energy as part of its electricity generation strategy. Debating for the resolution in support of nuclear energy adoption within Alberta, we have the proposition, Catherine Dugan and Prabnor Vilku. Debating against the resolution, raising concerns about the adoption of nuclear energy, we have the opposition, Domola Mohammed and Caleb Bonet. Each side will present their case, respond to each other's arguments, and attempt to persuade both the audience and our judges. Please welcome Prabnor Vilku with proposition and argument 1 to the stage.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for being here. Imagine this. You're sipping coffee in your kitchen, the sun barely rising over a frosty Alberta morning. The lights are on, the furnace is humming, your house is warm. But have you ever thought about where that power really comes from? What if it could come from something cleaner, more stable, and smarter? My name is Prabnor, and my partner Kate and I firmly support the resolution, be it resolved that Alberta should adopt nuclear energy as a part of its electricity generation strategy. Alberta stands at crossroads. Around the world, 31 countries have already embraced nuclear energy, and they're thriving. Now, we have the same opportunity to invest in something reliable, long-lasting, and worth every dollar. Yes, nuclear energy comes with upfront costs, but over time, it pays for itself. A single uranium pellet, the size of your fingertip, produces as much energy as 1 ton of coal, 149 gallons of oil, or 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas. That means less waste, less fuel, but more power. And most importantly, no waiting on the wind to blow or the sun to shine. Alberta needs steady energy, not just for homes, but for industry, oil sands, hydrogen, and EV infrastructure. Nuclear is steady, reliable, and always on. Now yes, the initial build can cost between $6 and $10 billion, but this isn't a short-term fix. This is a 60-plus year investment. Think of it like buying a house instead of renting forever. You pay more at first, but over time you save and you own it. And here's the thing, we're not starting from scratch. The federal government has already committed over $70 million to research and develop small modular reactors, known as SMRs. They see the future, and they're investing in it. These compact nuclear units are ideal for Alberta's remote and industrial areas. They require less space, cost less to operate, and can be built faster. But more than that, SMRs can spark an economic revival. According to the Canadian Nuclear Association, they could create over 10,000 direct jobs and thousands more in engineering, IT, and advanced manufacturing. That's not just energy. That's a workforce. That's family supported. Your families. Now, the impact doesn't stop there. Stable electricity cost from nuclear helps industries grow. They attract investment. They make Alberta competitive again in a world that's moving toward low-carbon energy. For decades, Alberta has run on oil and gas. But the world is changing, and whether we like it or not, so must we. Nuclear isn't about abandoning who we are. It's about adapting so we can stay strong. We have the resources, we have the talent, and we have the chance right now. to power our province with something cleaner, smarter, and future-focused. The only thing stopping us is us. Let's not wait until the lights flicker or the bills rise or the world moves on without us. Let's lead. Let's act. Let's power Alberta forward with nuclear energy. Thank you.
Please welcome Damola Mohammed from the Opposition 1 to the stage.
Can you imagine a force so powerful it can level entire cities in seconds? A source so unstable that a single mistake can poison the earth for generations. The kind of energy source that could power Alberta's cities, yet threaten our land, our water, and our future. That's not science fiction. That's nuclear energy. While it's marketed as clean and efficient, beneath the surface lies a ticking time bomb of waste, risk, human error, and economic disaster. Today, Caleb and I stand in firm opposition to the resolution that Alberta should adopt nuclear energy. Nuclear power plants not only cost several billions of dollars to establish, build, maintain, and eventually decommission, but it will also cost existing oil businesses in Alberta even more. According to Earth.org, more than 100,000 employees have been working on cleaning up and decommissioning a nuclear power plant located in Sellafield, United Kingdom since 2003. It is expected to reach a semi-completed state by 2027, a difference of almost 24 years. According to energy.gov, a nuclear power plant should be able to run for up to 80 years. Estimates show that even though there are currently no operating nuclear power plants in Alberta, annual operation of these plants could cost up to 200 million Canadian dollars. Doing the math, operation of a nuclear power plant over its lifespan could cost up to $16 billion Canadian, excluding the cost of decommissioning. Those $16 billion over the course of 80 years could be better used in Alberta to contribute to our existing infrastructure. Alberta is a leader in renewable energy generation despite our intermittent weather. The money spent on building and maintaining a single nuclear power plant could help us create more sustainable solutions to power generation, as nuclear energy is not a renewable source, given that renewable means ability to be replenished in a human lifetime. One of the things the money is better spent on is innovating our battery technology to combat Alberta's unpredictable weather. Dating back to 2012, Donald Sadoway, a professor at MIT, and some of his students worked on a brand new liquid metal battery with the aim of making them as affordable as possible. These batteries can store several kilowatts of energy while still being able to be produced cheaply. That energy spent over the course of 80 years on nuclear power generation could be spent improving our existing battery infrastructure and integrating it into our more renewable existing power infrastructure. Now we as Albertans are left with a choice. Do we persuade ourselves that using a new, less renewable power source is better for us? Or can we become leaders in power generation by showing that despite our inconsistent, intermittent, and unpredictable weather, we can overcome whatever gets thrown at us? Thank you.
Good job, good job.
We will now give the teams 5 minutes to prepare for their rebuttal. The judges can also discuss their thoughts on who won the first round.
Okay. Ready? So basically, I'm mostly going to talk about kind of like we did last time. So I am going to talk about the operating costs because they didn't really change anything about that, and then like the short-term. Right. But then I'm going to replace that. I'll probably still keep that part actually, but I am going to try and transition into talking about how they mentioned ways, but how it's actually more ways, just not the same way. But next time I'm going to stress that. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks so much. But yeah, that's how with the addition of nuclear waste, it's actually more, and then that can act as a transition.
perfect. Right? You make it seem like you have this all planned out. You don't think of this off the top of your head, right?
I did.
Okay.
I thought of this.
I don't know what happened to me at the end of that. I just decided that I should deliver that final statement with more power than I ever did.
Exactly, bro. I'm like, you got a louder in my head. Yeah. Like at the start, I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'm feeling compelled. And at the end, I'm like, he brought me back in. That's perfect.
So we're mostly ready for a vote.
Yeah. Basically. You think we're good? Like anything that you really think we should do?
I think you got this in the bag, man.
Alright. Let's be able to etc. Blah, blah, blah. Nuclear energy. Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah. Very Alright. So, I'm leaving it up to you to take notes. So it just, no. Because remember, well, I took notes last time, but remember, I want you to take notes when I'm speaking as well. So there's something I might be able to prove for my next meeting.
Ooh, I mean, you already have your stuff noted down.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you need to research something, we can do that.
That's true. And then we get the...
Yeah. I'm mostly just going to take notes. I'm going to be listening and taking notes while Kiera probably more speaking.
Do you dare me to go up there and be like, hello, everybody, my name is...
No, don't do that. Try and give this professional.
I know.
Let's not try to insert a Marco Follier reference in the
I know. Well, that was good.
Thanks so much.
Good job.
Don't do the thing. Don't do the thing. Don't do it.
I can't really do it from the left hand. My left hand is much
I thought it was speech.
Linus, get off your phone.
You're allowed to. Don't shout across the room in the microphone. So we're trying to be professional here. Unless you muted the mic.
It's fine.
And now you're supposed to listen.
Yeah, well, my dick.
I need to go not.
Everybody should be telling like the speaking.
We have 5 minutes, but you can go and like quickly use the
Don't
time.
worry.
Well, 5 minutes is nearly over anyway, so we have like a minute left.
Yeah. And then they also have to speak. But I'm too scared, man. I'm too worried. Once I'm done,
Yeah, no, that's how I felt, man. That was stressful. My heart was beating so fast with metal that I kept like stumbling over words.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, that's
and I said professional professor.
professional.
That's what I said.
Bro. Let's keep it professional. At that point, you might have been. You should have just like.
And I just paused, and I kept going, and it was fine. And then I think I brought it back at the end.
Yeah.
I think I managed that.
Bro, I swear. Like, I wasn't the one speaking, but I noticed them start writing stuff down when they said stuff. I'm like, even I got nervous, bro.
Yeah, I'm nervous, man.
Oh yeah. Remember, I have to do the rebuttals, and that's a.
Yeah, but then remember, I'm not going last.
Yeah,
Well, it would have been much better if I could go last, because then I get to wrap a little bit off.
Exactly, that'd be awesome. But they need the advantage on their part.
Yeah.
Basically, all we have to do is just talk about how it's bad, but they have to actually try.
Yeah, you have to also.
Time is up. Please welcome Kate Dugan from the Proposition with the time is up. Please welcome Kate Dugan from the Proposition with her first rebuttal and argument 2.
When you hear the word nuclear, what comes to mind? Explosions, danger, disaster? What if I told you that those fears are not only outdated, but they are also holding Alberta back from a cleaner, safer, and more reliable energy source? Hello, my name is Kate, and I will be advocating for the adoption of nuclear energy as part of electricity's generation strategy. as it is a safe energy source to produce. Let's begin with how safety for workers is ensured. According to the Government of Canada, workers must maintain maximum distance from radiation sources with lead or concrete barriers, creating as much distance as possible. They are also required to wear protective equipment and clothing, along with devices that measure exposure to their skin. In some cases, workers may need to submit samples, such as urine samples, to estimate radiation intake from the unstable chemicals. But safety doesn't stop with the workers. It extends to the entire operation of nuclear facilities. In addition to protecting individuals, nuclear power plants are designed with multiple safety protection in place. These include safe and reliable designs, high quality materials, a carefully chosen site with accounts for all safety hazards, and trained and qualified personnel. On top of that, a 5-layer defense system is in place to address the rare possibility of failure, ensuring thoughtful and preventative steps are taken. It is also important to emphasize that a commercial type power reactor cannot, under any circumstances, explode like a nuclear bomb. Of course, safety also includes managing waste, a common concern. In Canada, nuclear waste will be managed through a long-term storage plan developed by the Nuclear Waste Management Organization, or the NWMO, which involves transporting waste to the Canadian Shield and for underground storage. The NWMO's organization strategy is called Adaptive Phase Management, which combines deep geological storage in the Canadian Shield, centralized storage, and storage at nuclear reactor sites. Essentially, this means finding a town willing to, in or near the Canadian Shield, sinking a 500-meter shaft, and at the bottom, building a network of tunnels where the nuclear fuel bundles will be stored underground safely forever. So despite all of this information, there is still an extreme bias against nuclear energy due to its perceived lack of safety. And nuclear accidents are viewed as inevitable, despite it being proven that there are very low chances of catastrophes occurring. Even though safety concerns for nuclear energy have built up over the years due to different accidents, and while the concern for safety was once valid, it has become an outdated bias against nuclear energy. The last nuclear accident was Fukushima in 2011, which was caused due to a tsunami, Chernobyl in 1986, and 3 Mile Island in 1979, both of which were due to lack of safety protocols. Since then, nuclear energy has become significantly safer. Despite all of the safety improvements and precautions, many people still claim it is an unsafe energy source, ignoring that nuclear power plants have a lower risk of accidents and fatalities per unit of energy produced compared to fossil fuels. In fact, an average of 124 pipeline transportation incidents and accidents are reported each year in Canada, causing harm to human health, the environment, and property. Lastly, nuclear accidents are not inevitable. According to the World Nuclear Association, the evidence over 6 decades shows that nuclear power is a safe means of generating electricity. The risk of accidents in nuclear power plants is low and declining. Not to mention that France uses nuclear energy as its main source, producing 68% of its energy. The evidence is clear. Nuclear energy is a safe power source with strong worker protections, reliable safety systems, and an efficient waste management system. So I'm asking you, why is nuclear energy considered so dangerous that it should not be used? Why should we turn away from a safe, efficient, and proven energy source that could power our future just because of outdated fears?
Please welcome Caleb Bonnet from the opposition with his first rebuttal and argument 2.
Although operating costs may be lower compared to other energy sources, that first steep manufacturing cost to actually build a nuclear power plant is simply too high. On average, a 1,100 kilowatt to 1,000 kilowatt hour nuclear power plant, it's around 4 to 6 billion just to build the initial thing. And additionally, it's about $23 per megawatt hour to continue maintaining it, which in total, it's really high. And so really, you can't have that long-term effects of generating that much energy without dealing with the short term first. All that money from the government can simply just be put into something else. And they also talked about producing less waste. And while here they're talking about most likely carbon emissions, it's in total technically more waste, as the nuclear waste produced is technically waste. And I'm actually going to get into that right now about nuclear waste. Now, nuclear waste does not disappear. It's incapable of it. The only thing nuclear waste can do is wait, continuously emitting dangerous radiation for generations. Marketers, entrepreneurs, everyone really wants you to believe everything's going to be fine. But it simply will not. It is time to wake up and face reality. Waste is not something we can sleep on. Although some people have resorted to storing it underground, it simply won't be enough. Building underground storage centers takes too much time, too much effort, and too much money. Like, even more. That's just adding more to the production costs of a nuclear waste plant. It's not a reliable or consistent way to store nuclear waste. Besides, what are we going to do about the waste while the storage bunker is being built? We can't leave it lying around. That's going to affect soil, people, everything around us. It's not good to leave radioactive waste lying around anywhere. I'm sure everyone here knows that. Now, nuclear waste is incredibly dangerous. Again, as I said, we can't leave it lying around. It disrupts cell structures in soil, which essentially makes the soil unsuitable for supporting any life. And when a human is exposed to said waste, even for short periods of time, it can lead to several illnesses such as leukemia, anemia, etc. No matter what we do, there's not going to be a truly consistent and reliable way to store nuclear waste. Well, at least not for a while. Usually, people think of waste as a kind of blob of green goo, which is inaccurate. Nuclear waste is simply the byproduct of using uranium, an element capable of disrupting an entire ecosystem, as a fuel source. This includes tools used in the factory, working suits, machinery, etc. Essentially, this means we must be very careful, as those leftover tools and machinery used to contain and harness that uranium has the potential to be left alone if forgotten, which can lead to those negative effects on the environment and people I stated before. Which means we must completely replace old machinery, which takes time and money, even more money. Or we can leave it there and hope to contain it. Great idea. No, hope isn't an option. We cannot hope the reactor doesn't explode. We cannot hope the waste does not destroy ecosystems. We cannot hope for anything. Do or do not. There is no try. Although it may just be a line from a movie, it is entirely true. Trying is not enough. We must act. But guess what? Acting is not an option either. The acts we have right now are not dependable. They are not consistent. They are not anything but a cover from manufacturers to try. That's it. Trying can't work, and we must ask ourselves if it truly is worth the risk. Thank you.
We will now give 5 minutes for the teams to prepare for the rebuttal. The judges can also discuss their thoughts on who won the first round.
I'll start kind of writing out a basic
I haven't done my research yet.
Okay, fine. Wait, no.
Time is up. Please welcome Prabnor Vilku from the proposition with their final rebuttal.
Solar and wind aren't reliable to produce the amount of energy Alberta needs. Solar panels create waste when decommissioned, and they leak toxic chemicals anyways. And under no circumstances can a commercial-type power reactor explode like a nuclear bomb. Bombs use highly enriched fuel and are designed for a fast, uncontrollable reaction, while nuclear power plants use low enriched fuel and are carefully control the reaction to make electricity. We aren't hoping, we know nuclear power plants cannot explode. Nuclear waste is already being stored in interim facilities at the reactor sites in Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick, as well as Manitoba. Nuclear waste can also be stored in the Canadian Shield, mostly rock, allowing the waste to be safely stored. Now, I understand the concern of high cost. However, do we want to keep finding cheap, inefficient solutions, or should Alberta take the lead and support nuclear power? There has also been no nuclear disasters in Canada thanks to Canada's strict rules and regulations. So I must beg the question, why turn down this revolutionary opportunity? Thank you.
Please welcome Caleb Bonnet from the opposition with their final rebuttal.
Hi everyone, it's me again. Now, my opponents did mention kind of how the most recent disaster, Fukushima, was rather fairly outdated, same with the concerns. But, yeah, Fukushima was in 2011, which is not outdated and fairly recent. In fact, it happened in everyone here has technically been alive when Fukushima happened. That's not outdated. That's not old. That is a recent event. And same with Chernobyl. Like, I can fairly assume that every adult here was alive when that happened as well. That's not outdated. That's recent. And now they didn't also mention that Fukushima was taken out by a tsunami, which, well, we're not a coastal province. We don't really have to worry about that. But what we do have to worry about is various other natural disasters. I'm sure a lot of us can know that the weather in Alberta is incredibly inconsistent. In fact, I used to live in Lethbridge, where winds can get up to about 150 kilometers an hour. That's very fast. Now, these natural disasters include wildfires, floods, severe storms, avalanches, landslides, tornadoes, and let's not forget the worst of all, and most likely the biggest danger to nuclear power plants, hailstorms. I'm sure a lot of us can remember fairly large hailstorms happening, putting dents in our car, giving people concussions. There's a decent chunk of places in the world where hail can get up to the size of my head. That's really big. That can damage the shell of power plants. That can damage a lot of stuff. Power lines, power boxes, all sorts of stuff. Who knows what's going to happen? And let's also move back to floods. We're not coastal, but we are still somewhat susceptible to floods, which can damage electronics and essentially automatically make the nuclear power plant go into decommissioning. And as my esteemed partner here mentioned in his argument, decommissioning also takes a lot of money and time. Because, again, the one in 2003, it was shut down in 2003, but it's still being decommissioned. And really, that's it. Hailstorms, bad. Thank you.
Well done to both teams with their rebuttals. Now we will have our closing statements. Please welcome Damola Mohammed for the opposition for their closing statement.
You got this, Damola.
While nuclear power presents itself as a more environmentally friendly solution to one of Alberta's most pressing issues on power generation and storage, the combination of high costs and high risk will not be sustainable for Alberta, alongside the fact that nuclear energy is not renewable in any meaning of the word. Our economy relies on the work of those who put their lives into our existing infrastructure and industry. Why throw all of that away for a solution that might not even be the best one for our province? The initial cost of creating nuclear power plants is simply too steep, and for the long-term benefits to shine. And after the long term, we are left with several years and several billions of dollars needed to safely decommission the plant. This, again, is not sustainable for our economy. When it comes to the eventual problem of nuclear waste, we must consider the logical, economic, and the environmental impacts of trying to deal with it. Waste bunkers take too much time and money to build, and the waste will be there for several generations, slowly affecting our soil, our water, our air, and our livelihoods. Alberta should not adopt nuclear energy due to the cost, complexity, long-term impacts, and danger to Alberta's economy. Again, we are left with a choice. Do we adopt a brand new technology that could potentially harm our economy, harm our environment, and not even be the best one for us? Or can we invest in innovative new technologies that will contribute to our already leading renewable power generation solutions and be better for us overall? Thank you.
Started at the end there.
Sorry?
Please welcome Kate Dugan from the Proposition for their closing statement.
Imagine a future where Alberta leads Canada in clean, efficient, and reliable energy. A future where our province is no longer reliant on a non-renewable oil economy or an environmentally harmful fossil fuel, but instead powers homes, industries, and innovation through safe, proven, and forward-thinking solutions. Nuclear energy. Today, Alberta stands at a turning point. We have the knowledge, the technology, and the resources to invest in a cost-efficient, high-output energy source that not only meets our industrial needs, but creates thousands of long-term jobs. We have the systems in place to protect workers and the public, to prevent accidents, and to safely manage nuclear waste. And we have decades of evidence from countries like France and associations like the World Nuclear Association, proving that nuclear energy is one of the safest and most reliable options available. The only thing standing in our way is fear. Fear created by past incidents, not current science. So we ask you, will Alberta continue to rely on short-term, unstable solutions? Or will we embrace the future with confidence, clarity, and commitment by choosing nuclear energy? An energy source that is not only safe and efficient, but one that can power our province for generations to come.
That was an incredible ending to our debate. It was engaging and well argued. Thank you to both teams for the thoughtful points, respectful discussions, and dedication to the topic. At this time, I would like to thank the audience for listening, and I invite our judges to begin their evaluations and discussions in room 132. Debaters, for this debate, please read in room 127 in 15 minutes to receive formative feedback from our judges. Winners will be announced during the awards ceremony. Could we please have everyone set up for our next debate on data centers?
Take your script.
Thank you guys. You guys
did really good.
very well.
Is this off?
Yeah,
You
it's
guys
on.
on?
It's on. Great job. High five for Christopher. Better. Come on.
Yeah, Caleb.
No, you don't deserve a high five from me.
Lots of people enjoyed it. There's the chatter on the live stream.
Really?
Everyone, Caleb, you were getting.
I have to go now.
I was. You okay? If you look at the chat, you will see you were getting like a ton of people. Really? Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, I'm a fan of pizza.
You are a fan.
Shall we head
People
to
were
147?
people were only doing you.
There you go.
What? Yeah. Can I see? Sure.
Lift it, put it down.
That does make sense.
No, very fun. I love lifting heavy circles.
Which one's prop? Where's the prop? This is prop. I know, I'm saying this is prop. This is off.
good? I need a pen too. Looks good though, hey? Space is nice. Pretty chill room. Taught in here. Learning. It's just school. Just a school day. You got this.
Okay, thank you. I was really confident concerning it if you yeah, I don't know. I'm telling you, I know. No, it fell. Good luck, you guys. You guys, good luck.
The proposition argues that building a data center ran through 6 years, such as job creation and employment. However, upon closer inspection, these results are not as substantial.
Just stare right at it.
Not as substantial as it suggests.
Start.
Hello everyone, my name is Grace Tabaku, and I'll be the moderator for this debate. Today's debate focuses on a topic that has garnered significant attention in recent years, the establishment of large-scale data centers. These facilities, which store and process vast amounts of information, are essential to the modern digital world. However, their environmental and economic impact is still a topic of concern for many. In 2023, Google announced plans to build a massive data center complex near Grand Prairie, Alberta. While this could bring significant economic opportunities, questions have emerged about its feasibility and sustainability, especially in the context of Alberta's energy goals and infrastructure capabilities. For this debate, we have the following judges: Shin Tan, Tyler Sandro, and Andrees Shukri, and Miriam Abdul-Hamid. Shin Tan. Shin Tan is currently working as an ESG analyst with TransAtla, a local power producer with a footprint in the USA and Australia. She's a trained engineer and has previously worked in the offshore oil and gas industry globally before coming to Canada to complete her Master's of Science in Sustainable Energy Development. Shin Tan's primary focus is now net zero decarbonization and low carbon technology innovation. Tyler Sandro. Tyler Sandro has a law degree from the University of Calgary. He has served in many roles, both in the private and public sector. These include Minister of Health, Solicitor General, Attorney General, and the Minister of Labor and Immigration. He was also a former member of the Police Commission and the National Parole Board. Andrees Shukri. Andrees Shukri is in his 12th year of teaching high school teaching. The last 2 years have been with STEM IA, where he teaches a variety of option courses. Although the courses change from semester to semester, he always maintains a focus on system-level design thinking. Before his time in the teaching profession, Mr. Shukri worked in renewable energy consulting and completed a degree in mechanical and aeronautical engineering. Miriam Abdul-Hamid. Miriam Abdul-Hamid is a grade 10 student from STEM IA High School. Miriam is passionate about dance, sports, literature, and science. She also has a special interest in debate, which drove her to partake in the past ADSA season, where she once won third place speaker, and at 2 events won first place overall team. Outside of debate, she's involved in sports, competing in the STEM IA's basketball team the last 3 years, and occasionally on the track and badminton teams. Miriam also works closely with nonprofits to help engineer assistive technology for kids around the country. Miriam is excited to be here today to watch and engage with these young debaters. The issue will be debated by two teams before you. Debating for the resolution, the affirmative position will be Emily McLaren, Tate Marsh, and Sarah Shaheen. And debating against the resolution, the negative position will be Bella Kim, Siuna Kagu, and Bani Nathvani. The debate resolution is as follows. Be it resolved that Alberta should approve and support the establishment of large-scale data centers near Grand Prairie. Please welcome Sarah Shaheen from the proposition with argument 1 to the stage.
This debate is about a choice between economic progress or falling behind. In today's world, economic strength is no longer a luxury. It is survival. And if we want a strong future, we need to start today by making smart strategic decisions that set up our province for success. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Shaheen, and today I will be opening our resolution on why we support Alberta approving the establishment of large-scale data centers near Grand Prairie. We are living in a digital era. From schoolwork to business, gaming, and social media, everything is moving online. But where does all of that information go? Where is it stored? Where is it processed? That is where data centers come in. They are the heartbeat of the internet, quietly powering the apps we use, the cloud we depend on, the tools we work with, and the services we rely on every single day. Without them, modern life today simply does not function. Let's be real. Alberta is ready for a big positive change, especially Grand Prairie. We have what so many regions around the world are lacking: land, space, energy, and a hardworking community that is ready to grow. This is more than a tech opportunity. This is an economic opportunity. By supporting data centers, we are investing in jobs, in technology, and in a thriving, resilient economy for our future. This is a chance for Alberta to invest in something that is only going to grow. The first reason Alberta should approve and support large-scale data centers is because of the major economic benefits they bring. Let's start with looking at the facts. Economic growth is defined by how many goods and services a population produces over time. And Alberta has already proven itself in sectors like oil and natural gas with a GDP of around $70,000 in 2023. My team believes that by supporting the construction of data centers in Grand Prairie, we are further promoting the development of economic growth in Alberta. Data centers do not just pop out of nowhere. They require construction, creating immediate jobs for builders, electricians, engineers, and contractors. Then, once they're built, they offer long-term careers for IT technicians, maintenance workers, facility engineers, and many more. That means job opportunities for people in Grand Prairie and Alberta. But the impact doesn't stop at jobs. When large tech companies move into a region, they bring investment into the local community, supporting schools, community centers, and sometimes even improving the internet. They pay taxes that fund our healthcare, education, and roads. Supporting data centers is like planting a seed that can grow into a stronger economy for the whole region. It's not just business for big companies like Microsoft and Google. It's building a better quality of life. And we don't have to wonder what if or imagine the potential economic benefits of data centers. We already have proof. We can look at real-world examples, such as the data center growing in Iowa over the past 2 decades. Google built a huge data center in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and since then, according to their official economic impact website, they've invested over $1.5 billion into the area. That's not just money for Google. That's money flowing into the local economy. Over 400 permanent jobs were created, not to mention the hundreds of construction jobs needed to build the facility. And this investment did not just help tech workers. It boosted local businesses like hotels, restaurants, and shops nearby because of all the people coming in to work or visit. They saw all that growth simply because of their decision to approve large-scale data centers. And Google didn't stop there. They gave back to the community, funding local schools, boosting STEM programs, and giving students access to better technology and brighter future. That is the kind of impact we can create here in Alberta. If it worked in Iowa, it can absolutely work here. In fact, it can work even better because we have all the strengths Iowa has and more. We have wide open land, we have energy, we have reliable roads, but most importantly, potential.
With the right support, Grand Prairie could be the next addition to a successful economy and a symbol of Alberta's commitment to progress. So, I ask you to consider the real question in this debate. Are we ready to lead, or will we watch others pass us by? To quote Alberta's Tech Minister, Nate Glubish, Alberta is open for business and we are just getting started. Let's prove this statement true. This debate comes down to one crucial decision, one that could shape our economic future. We can make a difference. The only question is, will we?
Please welcome Bani Divani from the opposition with argument 1 to the stage.
Good evening, respected judges, esteemed opponents, and everyone present. My name is Bani Nadvani, the first speaker of the opposition team. Our team strongly opposes this motion, and you all should as well oppose this after considering the irreversible and unpropitious impacts that they have. We define data centers as a deterioration of Alberta's valued environment and climate through the damaging emissions that are released. The true question is what we need. Data centers are not a need. We need to focus on fixing the climate before the damage is irreversible. Data centers release diesel exhaust from backup generators, which contain fine particles that can cause health problems for people who are exposed frequently and at high enough levels. When people inhale polluted air, it particulates in their lungs and bloodstreams, causing heart and lung diseases. After a short period of exposure, these toxic air pollutants can cause breathing and other health issues, especially if you already have lung problems such as asthma. This investment ruins a habitable area. Alberta is already facing housing issues, so why should we ruin that land? Additionally, data centers are mostly used for artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is bringing a rapid influence in about every industry, but that also comes with a significant environmental cost. Training a single AI model can emit as much as carbon as 5 cars over their entire lifetimes. According to the International Energy Agency, approximately 2,700 data centers in North America are accounted for over 4% of the nation's electricity use, a figure projected to rise to 6% by 2026, primarily growing due to the adoption of AI. Data center emissions are caused by thousands of servers and IT devices that run on electricity generated primarily from fossil fuels such as coal, natural gas, and oil. These all release significant amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing to the global warming and climate change. Additionally, many people don't realize the sheer scale of backup power required for data centers. Because these facilities operate 24/7, they rely on a large number of diesel generators as a fail-safe during power disruptions. While a smaller data center may only use a little backup generators, larger projects, including those being built to power AI, can have dozens. For instance, Quantum Loopholes Aligned Data Centers proposed installing 168 diesel generators capable of delivering 504 megawatts of power. This is a lot of electricity, which emits a lot of carbon and greenhouse gases, which is terrible for the environment. These generators emit significant amounts of particulate matter such as nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide. These are pollutants that degrade air quality and contribute to climate change and pose serious health risks to nearby communities. I recently interviewed Mr. Anthony, who is a professional and trusted employee at Cisco. Cisco Systems is a multi-purpose company that specializes in network security collaboration and cloud management. They have been a leader in connecting the world and empowering digital transformation. Mr. Anthony claims that after moderating their small-scale data centers here in downtown Calgary for 10 years, he expressed how they have and will continue to contribute to the depletion of Alberta's healthy environment that has been consistently conserved for centuries. He mentioned that their small-scale data center causes noise pollution and disrupts other buildings around them. On top of that, a small megawatt data center can use around 25 million liters of water per year for cooling. This translates to roughly 300,000 gallons of water per day for an average data center, which is equivalent to the water usage of 100,000 homes, according to NPR. If a smaller center has these impacts, then imagine the significantly and the devastating increase of those outcomes when a larger data center is built here. Therefore, we should reconsider this investment. Canada is currently in the Paris Climate Agreement, which is a treaty among most of the countries to commit to undo the severe climate change. If we implement such large data centers, then we would be breaking that agreement, which is not aligned with our collective value to preserve what makes Alberta unique. We shouldn't be blinded by the undetermined and short-term economic opportunities that data centers offer. We know from history that climate worsens every time new infrastructure is built. Therefore, we should not invest in such a barbarous decision.
We will now give 3 minutes for the teams to prepare the rebuttal. The judges can also discuss their thoughts on who won the first round. 3.
I froze midway. Yeah, it's you took a pause to like read and think. I didn't look up at the audio. Now my mom's gonna tell me. She's right there. I saw her. I feel like a lot of these rebuttals are for Emily's second argument. Yeah, it's for the second of them. I think my rebuttal is because I'm seriously not right. Use this. I know. Say all this and I'll try. Say you want it up first.
Don't be like fast paced and speaking. Don't slow down.
I have to slow down.
And like take pauses.
Yeah, I try.
I feel like my arguments all over the place. I couldn't organize. That's okay. You make up the list.
I'm actually speaking. I'm scared.
I literally stared so much, and now it's on camera.
What is this cheeky sound?
Okay, so everything moving on my mind, life did not function. We were doing just fine without this. We need to focus on what Albertans truly need. To search up that, we need to focus on what Albertans really need. Did you write the economic how it's super expensive?
Yeah.
Okay, so super expensive.
I said we're gonna be paying a never ending.
Never ending. But it's privately owned though. Did they say that it was privately owned? Oh, did they also? I don't know if they. Then you should say that the opposition did not state whether it was privately or publicly owned. Therefore,
I'll see if I say it.
Just say therefore we're going to assume that it was publicly owned.
Time is up.
Okay, they did.
Yes.
She did.
Yes.
She quoted.
Time is up. Please welcome Emma McLaren from the proposition with the first rebuttal and argument 2.
Looking at this project, many may wonder why it must be built in Alberta. However, our team will prove that this area has many benefits for the project. Hello, My name is Emily McLaren, and I will be presenting our second argument today. The benefits of this area include its temperatures, low taxes, and few natural disasters. Firstly, Alberta is known for its cold climate. Although the weather is inconvenient for most, the temperatures are a major asset for data centers. Just like your computer getting hot if you have too many tabs open, the processors used for AI require elaborate cooling systems to remain efficient. By building in Grand Prairie, the need for such cooling systems decreases exponentially. The cold climate, like the negative 40 degrees reached in winter months, means data centers have largely self-sustaining heat. This means that the heat produced is all that's mainly needed for the center. With this lower need for cooling, there's in turn a lesser need for water-based cooling systems for many months throughout the year. Although cooling is still going to be needed in summer months, the majority of the year in Grand Prairie is much colder. When thinking about something like this, why wouldn't we want to build where operation will be most efficient? The second primary reason Grand Prairie is an ideal location is because it's far away from any major natural disaster zones. In other parts of the world, data centers can get shut down by hurricanes or floods. Imagine spending all this time and resources constructing a data center somewhere like Florida or another state or province along the coast. It may be a great success for the community and investors alike. This is all until a hurricane arrives. All of this work is crumbled to the ground from meters of water, ruining vital processing components. This exact situation occurred in 2012 when flooding caused by Hurricane Sandy left many different data centers powerless or permanently ruined in New York, according to Collocation America. An incident like this will simply never happen in Grand Prairie. We will never have to stress about vital government sites or other web programs being unstable for extended periods of time. According to the Alberta Geological Survey, a study showed that Bear Lake, which is around 20 kilometers from Grand Prairie, actually helps lower the risk of flooding in the area. Furthermore, compared to the rest of Alberta, there's a much lower risk of tornadoes, according to the American Meteorological Society. This further proves how Grand Prairie is an ideal location for large-scale data centers. Having the center in a safe place like Grand Prairie means fewer shutdowns, lower insurance costs, and better protection for important data. Thirdly, Alberta has much lower taxes compared to other provinces. With so much uncertainty regarding tariffs and other factors, everyone is looking for cost-effective construction. Our province has corporate income taxes of around 23% compared to the average in Canada of 27%, according to Invest Alberta. This gap makes Alberta more enticing for the investors leading the project. There's also no provincial sales tax, making it cheaper when buying things like equipment for construction. With all of these points in mind, we know that constructing large-scale data centers will bring benefits for all parties involved. Choosing this location ensures efficiency, safety, and an effective use of resources. The topic of data centers is not a small, irrelevant issue. It is our future. With the way our world is progressing, we need more data centers. The real question is where. By supporting construction in Alberta, we are making a strategic investment for our long-term success. Moving on to what our opponents said, they started by saying that we are building just for AI, which we do not believe is true. As mentioned in our opening statement, data centers is where everything is happening nowadays. Whether it be your Snapchat messages or your Microsoft OneDrive, everything is processed in a data center. As for health, they did not mention any sources, so it's really hard to know if that statement was true. Even if carbon could be causing these issues, we just don't know. They also mentioned a lot of emissions coming from these centers. According to MLT Atkins, carbon capture storage, or CCS, is in the plan for this data center. CCS works by isolating carbon and sending it to a long-term storage facility. British Columbia, Ontario, and many other provinces are already moving towards this new technology. This would be a way to control these emissions coming from the center. As for the issues about them disrupting surrounding buildings, this data center will be built in Greenview Industrial Gateway, so it's surrounded by other industrial buildings, so that extra noise won't really be a problem. And this is all according to O'Leary Ventures, which is the main investor in this project. They also said that we need to keep Alberta unique, but we believe that building a data center makes Alberta unique. It makes us the future. Thank you.
Now, please welcome Siuna Ikwagu from the opposition with the first rebuttal and argument 2.
I'd like to begin this argument by making something clear. This debate isn't about whether data centers are good or bad in general. It's about whether building one in Grand Prairie is a good idea. Hi, my name is Siona Ikwagu, and I will be presenting argument 2 and my rebuttal. The proposition argues that building a data center in Grand Prairie will generate significant benefits, such as job creation and economic growth. However, upon closer inspection, these benefits are not as substantial as they suggest. My opponent stated that data centers will provide Alberta with a major economic benefits. This is not the case. Although data centers create job opportunities for many, they cost millions to make. Therefore, meaning that money and jobs will be created, but we'll be paying a never-ending debt. Why are we digging ourselves into a hole when Alberta is already skyrocketing economically? Therefore, the claim that this project will provide lasting economic growth for the community is not supported by the facts. According to a report by the International Data Corporation, data centers construction involves more than just the building. It includes significant infrastructure upgrades such as improving electricity grids, roads, and internet networks to ensure proper functionality. These costs are often covered by local government or taxpayers. Money that could be used and better spent on more community-focused projects used for schools, hospitals, or even public transit. When it comes to energy consumption, data centers use enormous amounts of power. The U.S. Department of Energy notes that large data centers can use as much electricity as 25,000 homes. Just imagine that. In Alberta, where much of our electricity still comes from fossil fuels, this could significantly strain the power grid. The Alberta Utilities Commission has highlighted that such a large increase in electricity demand can lead to higher energy costs for consumers, impacting everyone in the region. Albertans are already facing economic challenges, so why should we add more pressure by raising electricity costs for a data center? Instead, we should invest that money into programs that actually support the economy, such as affordable housing, education, mental health services, and public transportation. And just to give perspective, 1 megawatt equals 1 million watts. So imagine how much energy a large-scale data center would consume every single day. In addition to electricity costs, data centers require large amounts of water to cool their machines. A report by the Water Research Foundation found that a cooling system in data centers account for about 40% of water usage in industrial sectors. This could become a real problem during droughts or dry season, especially with the climate change, causing more water shortages. Alberta has already faced water challenges in the past recent years, and adding a facility that demands such a significant amount of water could put even more strain on our already limited resources. This is especially concerning as we continue to see temperatures rise and water conservation becomes more important than ever. Consider the ongoing maintenance cost of operating a data center. After the initial construction, there are constant needs for upgrades and repairs to keep up with the changing technology. Technology is changing day by day, so we need to be able to keep up. Maintaining a data center can cost a significant amount of money each year, as the technology inside them can quickly become outdated. If the data center's technology is not updated regularly, it could become inefficient, making it more expensive to operate in the long run. If the company decides to shut down or even move, Grand Prairie could be left with an expensive, underused facility with no real benefits for the community and people around the region. This situation can lead to even higher costs for the local government or taxpayers, as they will be responsible for maintaining the building or dealing with its disposal. Furthermore, the environmental impact of data centers goes beyond just water and electricity use. These facilities also generate significant electronic waste due to the frequent replacement of servers and other hardware. If not properly managed, this e-waste can release toxic substances into the environment, polluting soil and water, posing health risks to nearby communities. Grand Prairie is known for its natural beauty and agricultural roots. We should not have to bear the burden of an increased environmental degradation for a project with uncertain long-term rewards. Thank you.
We will now give 3 minutes for the teams to prepare their rebuttal. The judges can also discuss their thoughts on who won this round.
What should I talk about? I say that the fire, natural fires are extremely common there. So if I say
Time is up. Please welcome Emily McLaren from the proposition with their final rebuttal.
Okay, so our opponent started by saying that this center will take millions to make, but that's just not really true, or not in the way that they intended at least. The center is being fully funded by O'Leary Ventures. Although the government has expressed their support in the project, they have made no financial contributions. This means that it's not affecting our taxpayer dollars because it's all being privately funded. So this goes along with that never-ending debt. They're building the center in stages, so that's the private investors' thing to worry about. They also said that we must improve our grid in order to have such a center. Data Center Frontier has stated that the center will be completely off-grid. This means that the center will have no effect on the Alberta energy grid. Kevin O'Leary, the main investor himself, said that the center will be completely independent with enough water, land, and fiber. For that water point,
We do not have to worry about additional drought because all the water is being privately found. It's not going to affect our public usage or anything of that matter. For the point of community-focused development, as our opening statement said, there's substantial evidence towards data centers helping local communities, either directly or indirectly. This could be through funding local businesses or directly putting money into programs in schools. As for the point of toxic substances and health risks, there were no sources, so it's difficult to know where that information is coming from. For uncertain long-term rewards, we don't need to guess, we know. We know that this will help us stay ahead in the data center or in the new developing world and help the local community. They said that information is changing day by day, and we have to keep up. But by building this center, we are getting ahead. Thank you.
Okay, now please welcome Sione Kwagu from the opposition with your final rebuttal.
The proposition said that carbon capture is combat emissions. The process of carbon capture requires extra energy. It creates emissions that go unaccounted for. Carbon capture has not yet been proved. Also, the proposition said that there are not many natural disasters, but Grand Prairie is very prone to wildfires. This could make the data centers become very. Okay, the proposition stated that there are not many natural disasters, but Grand Prairie is prone to wildfires. This could seriously affect Alberta's goal to decarbonize its power grid and reach net zero emissions by 2035. Large-scale data centers require enormous amounts of electricity to operate, and facilities like this can pose a significant challenge to the province's ability to transition to cleaner, renewable energy sources. The CEO of TransAtlas states that increasing demand for electricity from these facilities could place a strain on Alberta's power grid, putting Alberta's at risk at blackouts or power shortages. This situation may force Alberta to rely on fossil fuels to meet electricity needs.
You did good. Well done to both teams on the rebuttal. They are really amazing. Now we have our closing statements. Please welcome Bella Kim from the opposition for their closing statement.
Before we rush to welcome technological and data progression, we need to ask, what good will this advancement bring at the cost of our environment, local land, and community trust? The project of Kevin O'Leary's proposed data center, Wonder Valley in Grand Prairie, may promise economic growth, but it still does not outweigh the serious concerns about land use, transparency, and the questionable long-term benefits. Alberta should focus on addressing the issues that matter most to our communities, such as improving healthcare access, local economies, and protecting our natural environments. We should approach such developments with caution and prioritize initiatives that will benefit everybody. Why should we build a new data center here in Alberta when our technology is already advanced to store, process, and distribute data? Why are we jeopardizing our environment by the influx of e-waste disposal and destroying habitats for Canada's proud ecosystems and wildlife? Instead of moving in the wrong direction, we must set an example, pursuing innovation that aligns with our values. We cannot ignore the broader consequences for our future. If we are to build a strong and sustainable province, we must say no to this project, and yes, to smarter, community-first developments. We are the ones who decide what will benefit Alberta for future generations, pursuing innovation that aligns with our values. We can share our values and knowledge about what we truly know is best for our province. We need a strong foundation for our future to maintain and continue to innovate as our futures depend on the decisions we make now. But the real question is, what kind of future are we building for our lands, our communities, and those who come after us? The decision is ours, and we must make a wise choice. Together, we decide. Thank you.
Now, please welcome Tate Marsh from the proposition for their closing statement.
Within the past couple of decades, our world has changed drastically. Humanity has seen incredible advancements in our technological sector, especially in artificial intelligence. It is now a key part of our life, and it isn't disappearing anytime soon. We need to learn how to embrace and use it, or we will all be left behind as the world around us moves forward with their innovations. Data centers are absolute powerhouses when it comes to processing, distributing data, and AI use. It isn't a question of whether we should build data centers, it's about where. The low taxes and equally low temperatures found in Grand Prairie are perfect for supporting the Wonder Valley project. With Grand Prairie being so well equipped to handle the requirements of these facilities, it would be a monumental loss not to utilize the land's possibilities for something as groundbreaking as this project. By supporting and encouraging the Wonder Valley data center proposal, we are solidifying and ensuring Alberta's relevance in this new advancing world. Furthermore, we are supporting our own Albertan economy all the way through the creation of this center. With the numerous jobs that are being created, our economy is sure to thrive, even as the center is being built. Change in life is constant, and we need to keep changing to keep up with the current economies. Alberta has the possibility to innovate and create something incredible that has the power to change our economy for the better. Will we invest in this opportunity, or will we let it pass us by? Thank you.
That was an incredible ending to our debate. It was very engaging and well argued. Thank you to both teams for their thoughtful points, respectful discussions, and dedication to the topic. At this time, I would like to thank the audience for listening, and I invite our judges to begin their evaluation discussion in room 132. Debaters for this debate, please meet in room 127 in 15 minutes to receive formative feedback from our judges. Winners will be announced during the awards ceremony. Finally, could we please have everyone set up for our final debate on EV vehicles? Thank you.
Yo, clutch up, bro.
You clutch up, bro. Yeah, we were making fun of you the whole time. They're literally here, bro. Yeah, see what's going on. Carmen, we're on these? Yeah, we can have as many as we want. Right? We can have as many as we want.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our third and final debate. My name is Zobia, and I will be the moderator for this debate. I'm excited to dive into our third and final topic, electric vehicles. Judging the debate, we have Jennifer Likos, Tyler Chandro, Sabrina Arnaldo, and Swati Saigopal. Jennifer Likos is a development engineer with Cenovus Energy focused on the safe and sustainable development planning for one of the largest SAGD facilities in the world. She graduated from the University of Calgary with a degree in chemical engineering as a writer for Energy Minute, an energy newsletter. She has written on topics ranging from renewable energy technologies to energy geopolitics. She's a volunteer with the Calgary Public Library and Water Movement, an organization dedicated to ending water adversaries in Indigenous communities. Ms. Sabrina Arnaldo is the head debate coach and the social studies team lead for the STEM IA High School. Ms. Arnaldo has a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science with a minor in Philosophy and a Bachelor of Education, majoring in Secondary Social Studies. Ms. Arnaldo has been with STEM IA since 2023, but has also worked in education in the Catholic School Division and in the Rocky View School Division. Swati is a student at STEM IA High School. She is an alumni of the junior high and participated in the electricity debate in her grade 9 year. Swati is an avid athlete and gymnast and was a leader during her time at the junior high. Tyler Chandro has a law degree from the University of Calgary. He has served many roles both in the private and public sector. These include Minister of Health, Solicitor General, Attorney General, and the Minister of Labor and Immigration. He was also a former member of the Police Commission and the National Parole Board. Thank you so much to our judges for volunteering their time. I'll now introduce the resolution. The resolution is as follows. Be it resolved that Alberta should actively support and accelerate the transition to electric vehicles through investment in infrastructure and consumer incentives. This issue is especially important for the future of Alberta, as the transition to electric vehicles is not only about transportation, but environmental policy, public health, and economic growth in the province. The switch to electric vehicles could reduce emissions, decrease air pollution, and offer new economic opportunities. However, there are downsides to this, as it could create problems with battery production, disposal impacts, charging infrastructure needs, and affordability barriers. My job as moderator is to ensure the debate runs smoothly. So let's get started. On the proposition team, we have Prisha Parmar and Carmen Cahalan, and on the opposition team, we have Yuvi Parashar, Prisha Dalia, and Neil Patel. The proposition will now give their opening statement. Please welcome Prisha from the proposition with argument 1 to the stage.
Picture this. A family sets out on a road trip through Alberta, but this time there's no engine roar, no tailpipe fumes, only the calm of a province embracing their future. Just imagine it, cruising through the Rockies or across the prairies with clean air all around and nothing but the road ahead. This is not a distant dream. It's a future we can start building on today. My name is Prisha Parmar, and my partner Carmen and I are in strong affirmative of the resolution that the provincial government should actively support the transition to electric vehicles in Alberta. Alberta has long been a powerhouse of energy, fueling Canada's growth through oil and gas. We are proud of that legacy, but the world is changing, and so are we. Climate change, pollution, and global demands for sustainability require bold new solutions. Electric vehicles offer Alberta an opportunity not just to adapt, but to lead, to champion innovation, diversify our economy, and protect the environment for future generations. Transportation is one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, and gas-powered vehicles are a major part of the problem. One of the most impactful choices we can make is changing how we power our cars. The solution is clear: electric vehicles. With strong government support, expanding infrastructure, and undeniable economic and environmental advantages, the transition to EVs is essential for a forward-thinking province. The vision of a cleaner, quieter Alberta is not just appealing, it's economically resilient. By embracing this transition, Alberta can stimulate job growth for citizens, make clean transportation more accessible to people of all income levels, and position itself to meet the growing global demand for sustainable energy solutions. The shift to electric vehicles is not a cost, it's an investment in our future. And this investment is already taking shape. In 2022, the federal government invested $2 million into the Southgard Regional Initiative, supporting the installation of 110 new EV chargers across Alberta. This investment was part of the Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure Program, a national initiative led by Natural Resources Canada to eliminate one of the biggest barriers to EV adoption, limited charging infrastructure. These efforts are targeted in areas like southern Alberta, being a vastly rural landmass to help ensure that even long-distance drivers are supported in this transition. These initiatives solve the problem of accessibility, making sure that both urban and rural areas are accounted for. On a broader scale, the federal government has invested over $1 billion into making EVs more affordable and charging more accessible. These investments, made by both provincial and federal governments, are crucial in making electric vehicles a sustainable choice for Alberta's transportation future, proving that EVs are a reliable option for the road ahead. Moreover, the EV transition offers a significant opportunity for economic diversification. EV adoption creates long-term employment across multiple sectors: construction, engineering, tech, and especially renewable energy, providing meaningful work in a rapidly evolving economy. This shift allows Alberta to diversify its economy beyond fossil fuels and build a workplace equipped for the future. As more companies and startups emerge to support EV manufacturing, infrastructure, and technology development, Alberta can cultivate new industries that drive growth and innovation. The growth of the EV sector also strengthens Alberta's position in international trade. By investing in EV production, clean energy solutions, and battery manufacturing, Alberta can become a key exporter of sustainable technologies and materials, tapping into the growing global market for green energy and low-carbon transportation solutions. This can be costly, especially when the global demand for minerals is rising. However, Alberta can leverage this as an opportunity to drive economic growth by establishing world-class extraction processes, investing in sustainable mining technologies, and ensuring that mining practices meet stringent environmental standards. The transition to EVs is no longer just a dream. It has already begun. These vehicles are more practical, affordable, and accessible than ever before. Electric vehicles represent a powerful shift towards a more resilient, diverse, and competitive economy, while providing clean and reliable transportation for citizens. With innovation accelerating around the world, it is Alberta's responsibility and opportunity to lead this change and secure long-term economic stability. The question is no longer if Alberta should transition to electric vehicles. It's why wouldn't we? Thank you.
Please welcome Prayush from the opposition with argument 1 to the stage.
We've all heard about how electric vehicles are the future. Clean, quiet, and high-tech. But here in Alberta, where long distances, cold winters, and a resource-based economy shape our daily lives, we have to ask, whose future are we talking about? Good evening. My name is Prayush Chatalya, and we, the opposition, do not support the transition to electric vehicles here in Alberta. We all agree that helping the environment is important, but this plan is not realistic for Alberta right now. It's too expensive, doesn't work well with how we live in this province, and won't have significant contributions to pollution reduction. Alberta is a huge province with long highways, harsh winters, and many small towns and cities. To make electric vehicles work here, we would need to build hundreds of charging stations all over the province. According to Natural Resources Canada, each fast charger costs about $100,000 to install. So if you build hundreds, that's millions of dollars in taxpayer money, and most Albertans don't even own electric vehicles yet. In 2023, only about 2% of vehicles in Alberta were electric, says Statistics Canada. So is it fair to spend so much money for something that so few people use? Additionally, our power grid can't handle more EVs right now. The Alberta Electric System Operator says that electricity demand is already going up. And if we add more pressure from electric cars, we would need to upgrade power lines and build new energy sources. That's even more money. Most of Alberta's electricity still comes from fossil fuels, like natural gas, which is about 90%. This is according to Canada Energy Regulator. When we charge electric cars here, we're still using energy. This means that EVs won't help as much with climate change as they do in places with cleaner power. So we ask you, is it smart to spend millions on EVs when they don't have many benefits to Alberta and most people can't even use them yet? Instead of rushing into this plan, let's take the time to build better solutions for Alberta, like improving public transit, upgrading our power grid, and supporting clean energy that works for everyone. Thank you.
We will now give 3 minutes for the teams to prepare for their rebuttal. The judges can also discuss their thoughts on who won this round. Time is up. Please welcome Carmen from the proposition with the first rebuttal and argument 2. While it is true that production costs of electric vehicles are currently higher than that of electric or of traditional gas-powered cars, the cost disparity is rapidly narrowing with the advancements of the field. According to the International Energy Agency, the price of lithium, a key component of EV batteries, has dropped more than 85% since 2022. Furthermore, global reports indicate that advancements in manufacturing techniques are driving down the cost of EV battery production. By 2025, EVs are expected to be cheaper to produce than their gasoline counterparts. This research highlights the importance of Alberta beginning an investment in electrical vehicles now, not only to stay ahead in the global transition, but to significantly boost our economy. The opposition also brings up the point as to why electric vehicles and why now.
While alternatives like hydrogen and biofuels are being explored, they still remain less efficient, more expensive, and lack the infrastructure that EVs have already put in place. EV technology is mature and backed by real-world success expanding beyond our province. This makes integrating into EV vehicles the most practical solution today by miles. Delaying action in hopes of finding a perfect future technology only prolongs our dependence on fossil fuels and deepens the climate crisis. EVs are ultimately the most effective solution to Alberta's crisis of environmental and economic concern, and our time to act is now. In combination with the strong economic benefits of EVs, Alberta should actively support the transition to electric vehicles through the significantly lower greenhouse gas emissions produced compared to traditional gas-powered vehicles. According to the Electrical Vehicle Association of Alberta, EVs produce fewer emissions over their entire lifetime compared to gas vehicles, which worsen air quality on a daily basis. This is happening even while being powered by Alberta's current electricity mix of natural gas and coal. As the province continues to invest in wind, solar, and other renewables, these environment benefits will only increase. In traditional gas vehicles, internal combustion engines use burning fossil fuels like gasoline or diesel to power the engine. Every time that fuel burns, it releases carbon dioxide and other harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These tailpipe emissions are a leading driver of both climate change and urban air pollution. Opposingly, EVs produce zero tailpipe emissions. While recognizing that their battery production does create emissions, these are offset within the first few years of use. Over the lifetime of the vehicle, EVs consistently produce fewer emissions than their gas-powered counterparts. And as Alberta's power grid becomes greener, this deficit will only become greater. According to Natural Resources Canada, transportation is responsible for about 25% of Canada's total greenhouse gas emissions, and passenger vehicles are a major contributor to that number. In large urban centers like Calgary and Edmonton, shifting to electric vehicles could lead to a significant drop in carbon emissions. EVs also reduce air pollution from nitrogen oxides, a pollutant that gas engines emit that is directly linked to asthma, heart disease, and other respiratory illnesses. These health problems affect real people, children, seniors, and those with pre-existing conditions. A 2020 report published by the Lancelot Commission on Pollution and Health found that air pollution contributes to an estimated 9 million premature deaths worldwide each year, making the implementation of EVs not just needed to recognize an environmental issue, but a public health emergency. As noted by the Alberta Department of Energy, used EV batteries can now be repurposed for grid energy storage, supporting a cleaner and more resilient economy. These batteries are effectively being researched and adapted to become more sustainable for the generations ahead. Alberta can lead in this transition, not just to follow global trends, but to drive them. Supporting EVs is a chance to position Alberta as a forward-thinking province, ready to embrace innovation and clean technology. These vehicles are not just a cleaner alternative, they're a catalyst for progress, bringing with them the potential to decrease our collective carbon emissions and provide a healthier future for every Albertan. By choosing to support and accelerate this transition, we are choosing to invest in a province that is cleaner, smarter, and built for long-term success. Thank you.
Please welcome UV from the opposition with first rebuttal and argument 2.
While the enthusiasm for electric vehicles is admirable, it might be worth stepping back from the glossy future imagined and confront a few stubborn realities. First, the environmental narrative around EVs often omits the high human and ecological costs of their production. The mining of lithium, cobalt, and rare earth metals is essential for EV batteries. They have been linked to severe water depletion, environmental degradation, and troubling labor practices, particularly in the global south, according to the Energy International. So, while tailpipe emissions may disappear, the upstream footprint remains anything but clean. And regarding affordability, yes, government subsidies do help. But let's be honest, EVs are still out of reach for many Albertans. The average price of an EV in Canada remains well over the $55,000 mark. according to Statistics Canada. Even with rebates, that's hardly accessible, unless we're redefining the term to mean affordable for the upper middle class. As for infrastructure, we hear about charging stations being added, but that doesn't erase the fact that Alberta's vast geography and long winter months could pose some serious limitations. Cold weather can reduce EV battery range by as much as 40%, not to mention long charging times and limited stations in rural areas. It's easy to be optimistic in theory, but a little less so when stranded on the Queen Elizabeth II in February. So, while EVs certainly have a role in the broader transportation landscape, perhaps it's time we stop pretending they're flawless. One-size-fits-all solution for Alberta's economic and environmental future. Technology deserves all of our support, but not our blind faith. The wheels of history are turning. Alberta can drive or be driven over. Let us begin with the impact on the rural and remote communities, which make up a significant portion of Alberta's population. They're uniquely disadvantaged in this transition. The University of Alberta's Centre for Applied Technology notes that charging infrastructure is virtually non-existent outside of urban hubs, and cold weather range issues remain pronounced in regions without garage access or public charging. Prioritizing EV infrastructure in cities only widens the economic equity gap, disproportionately benefiting wealthier urban drivers, while failing to meet the mobility needs of rural Albertans. Next, there's an issue of cost effectiveness and opportunity cost. According to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, public EV subsidies can cost over $15,000 per ton of CO2 avoided, depending on the program design, making them one of the least cost-efficient forms of emission reduction available. By contrast, investments in energy efficiency retrofits, industrial decarbonization, or public transit produce greater emission reductions at a lower cost. Prioritizing EVs now risks misallocating public funds that could deliver far more environmental impact elsewhere. Environmental concerns also merit a more honest assessment. While EVs emit less over their lifetime, battery production creates significant upstream impacts, including the mining of lithium, cobalt, and nickel. According to Amnesty International and MIT's Materials Research Laboratory, these materials are often sourced under unethical labor conditions and have destructive ecological footprints. Unlike traditional recycling, EV battery recovery is still in its infancy, and Alberta currently has no provincial policy for EV waste management. Finally, let us address the economic and strategic risk. Alberta's energy economy is still heavily tied to oil and gas. Moving too aggressively towards EVs, especially in a way that discourages hybrid solutions or transitional technologies, risks destabilizing our existing industries before alternatives are fully ready to replace them. This is not a matter of lost revenue, but of lost livelihoods of thousands of Albertans working in energy, manufacturing, and rural services. Supporting EVs long-term may be part of a sustainable transportation journey, but active acceleration through infrastructure and incentives is premature, unequitable, and economically unwise. The technology is improving, but Alberta's readiness is not. This is not about rejecting change. It's about managing it responsibly. Let's not mistake speed for strategy. Thank you.
We will now give 3 minutes for the teams to prepare their rebuttals. The judges can also discuss their thoughts on who won the first round. time is up. Please welcome Prisha from the proposition with their final rebuttal.
The opposition identifies that the extraction of materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel are essential for EV batteries has historically been associated with environmental and human rights concerns. However, advancements in ethical and environmentally friendly mining practices have been identified to reduce the environmental footprint of electric vehicles. For instance, companies such as Impossible Mining are developing innovative technologies, including marine robots and bacteria-based refining processes, to minimize habitat destruction and toxic waste during metal extraction. Additionally, the Responsible Cobalt Initiative focuses on improving labor conditions and environmental standards in cobalt mining, as done in places like Dominican Republic and more. With these initiatives in place to make EVs more ethical and effective, the solution is not to reject these vehicles, but invest in the transition. Additionally, in response to the opposition's remarks about emissions, electric vehicles in fact produce zero tailpipe emissions. With this, the air quality of Alberta is significantly improved, which leads to better long-term results for Alberta. Additionally, Albertans' energy mix is evolving, and while the Electric Vehicle Association of Alberta has proved that as of 2022, renewable energy generation has provided more electricity than coal, further reducing negative environmental impacts. And let's put things into perspective. Alberta's oil sand initiatives have involved massive tailing ponds, toxic runoff, and more that has affected a large quantity of the surrounding ecosystems. So if we're talking about damaging Alberta's geography, fossil fuels have caused far more harm than EVs ever will. Furthermore, while the depletion of resources in creating electrical vehicle batteries is a concern, advances in battery recycling and second life use can help reduce the need for new raw materials and lessen the environmental impact. The mining industry is also adopting more sustainable practices, including using cleaner energy and more efficient extraction methods, which reduce the environmental toll and impact. The environmental benefits of EVs, especially in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, outweigh the impact of resource extraction. This proves that the wave of EV advancements is just the beginning, and the advancing technologies of the field will only decrease emissions further. While it is acknowledged that cold temperatures can have an effect on most battery performances, modern inventions and the development of technologies have proven batteries in EVs as a reliable source of transportation. A recent study from the news outlet The Drive demonstrates that a specialized coating on the outside layer of the battery prevents lithium plating from occurring, which is the exact thing that reduces battery life. While this plating occurs, lithium ions are prevented from moving into the anode material, slowing down the charging process and reducing reliability. These instances would occur in cold temperatures. However, the engineering team created a solution being a thick coat application to the battery. When combined with the restructured higher efficiency electrode, the battery is able to maintain its capacity longer. Overall, the opposition's concerns remain revolved around the speed of the electric vehicle transition. However, it's crucial to recognize that we were once in a similar position with gas-powered vehicles. The global investment of money and labor required to pump oil and manufacture gas vehicles was significantly higher than electric vehicles. The challenge of developing oil extraction methods and building the infrastructure for gas vehicles seemed daunting at the time too. Yet through technological advancements and changing attitude, gas vehicles eventually became the standard. Now the transition to... Okay. Thank you.
Please welcome Neil from the opposition with their final rebuttal.
The affirmative team stated that EVs benefit the environment. Electric vehicles do play a critical role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, particularly by eliminating tailpipe pollution from cars, like the opposition stated. However, their actual climate benefit depends heavily on how the electricity that powers them is generated. In regions where the electrical grid still relies heavily on coal or other fossil fuels, EVs can have a carbon footprint similar to, or in some cases greater than, efficient gasoline cars. According to the MIT Climate Portal, in coal-heavy grids, EVs can end up emitting as much carbon as internal combustion engine vehicles over their lifetimes. A study by the Union of Concerned Scientists also shows a wide variability in the emissions benefits of EVs across U.S. regions, with cleaner grids showing significant benefits and coal-reliant ones offering far less improvement. In other words, EVs are only as clean as the grid they run on. Until we fully decarbonize electricity generation, promoting EVs as a blanket solution to climate change risks overselling their environmental value. Cleaning up the grid must be a parallel, if not a primary priority. But while the tailpipe emissions drop, upstream harms arise, particularly from battery production. The extraction of critical minerals like cobalt, lithium, and nickel involves significant environmental and human rights concerns. Cobalt mining in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which supplies over 70% of the world's cobalt, has been tied to child labor, dangerous working conditions, and toxic environmental waste. Even though there are still practices to improve this, there are still continually using child labor, dangerous working conditions, and other unmoral ways to produce this cobalt. Reports by Amnesty International and The Guardian document how mining operations have devastated communities and ecosystems. Calling EVs zero emissions paints an incomplete picture. We're not eliminating pollution, we're relocating it, often to the global south, where oversight is weak and communities bear the cost. How can we claim this is a clean future when it is built on suffering? It's true that investment in EV charging infrastructure is accelerating, with governments and private companies expanding networks across many countries. However, the pace of expansion is still far from sufficient. Rural areas, low-income neighborhoods, and people living in apartments or without dedicated parking continue to face major access barriers. According to the International Energy Agency, charging stations remain concentrated in urban areas and along major highways, leaving large regions underserved. A 2024 report by the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in the US also highlights how disparities in charger distribution threaten to widen the gap between those who can easily adopt EVs and those who can't. If we move too quickly to ban or discourage internal combustion engine vehicles without first ensuring equitable access to charging, we risk creating a two-tier transportation system where only the privileged have reliable, clean mobility. Thank you.
Well done to both teams on their rebuttals. Now we will have our closing statements. Please welcome Neil from the opposition for their closing statement.
We were promised electrical vehicles would be the solution to our environmental crisis. But what if the road ahead is paved with exploitation, instability, and even more environmental damage, all disguised as progress? My name is Neil Patel, and I'll be wrapping up our arguments to conclude this resolution on behalf of the opposition party. We're not against clean energy, we're not against innovation, but we are against a rushed, reckless transition to electrical vehicles, because it is, at this stage, a disastrous cause that's being pushed far too soon without the necessary infrastructure, equity, or sustainability. Then there's the cost. In 2024, the average EV price in the United States was over $53,000. That is not affordable for everyday families, especially in rural and low-income areas, where public chargers are nearly non-existent. The Department of Energy states there are around 100,000 public chargers in the US. That's simply not enough for millions of EVs already on the road. And the electrical grid already strained. California has experienced blackouts and has had to request EV owners to stop charging during their peak hours. Our power infrastructure is not ready for a full EV transition. This is not a clean handoff for the future. It is a scramble, and it's leaving millions behind. As environmental journalist Michael Schellenberger warned, the idea that we can solve climate change with electric cars is a dangerous illusion. We are not against reducing emissions. We support hybrids, alternative fuels, and smart gradual change. But this resolution, pushing a full EV transition now, underprepared, and overpromised, is not progress. It's a mistake. This is why my team and I firmly oppose this resolution. The EV transition, as it stands, is not clear, is not clean, not fair, and not ready for the world we live in. Thank you.
Please welcome Carmen from the proposition for their closing statement. If not now, when? Ask yourselves, how much longer should Alberta remain behind in the race for economic and environmental progress? The time to act is now.
Supporting the transition to electric vehicles is not just about adopting new technology. It is about Alberta stepping up as a leader in both energy and automotive fields. Steps have already been put into place to lay the foundation for widespread adoption of electric vehicles, beginning with government investment in charging practices. This is no longer just a distant idea. It is a reality that is gaining momentum every day. In combination with the growing availability of EVs from numerous manufacturers, it is time that Alberta fully supported this transition. With the implementation of EVs in Alberta, the potential benefits are undeniable. Electric vehicles are already cleaner than traditional gas-powered vehicles, and as our grid becomes cleaner and greener, with more investment in renewables, these emissions will continue to fall, ultimately improving air quality and reducing our carbon footprint. This is crucial to urban cities with high population in Alberta, directly impacting the health and safety of our society. But the benefits extend far beyond just environmental and health impacts. The transition will drive economic growth. By investing in electric vehicles and the infrastructure to support them, Alberta will open doors to new industries, new jobs, and new technologies. With the way that our world is progressing, we cannot afford to be left behind. The global economic powerhouses of today are already capitalizing on the electrical vehicle revolution. Alberta has the potential to do the same, driving innovation, job creation, and economic diversification. By supporting this transition, Alberta will not only benefit economically, but also demonstrate that we are prepared to meet the challenges of the future. Thank you.
That was an incredible ending to our debate. It was very engaging and well argued. Thank you to both teams for the thoughtful points, respectful discussions, and dedication to the topic. At this time, I would like to thank the audience for listening, and I invite our judges to begin their evaluation and discussion in room 132. Debaters, for this debate, please meet in room 127 in 15 minutes to receive formative feedback from our judges. Winners will be announced at the end of all debates. We ask that the audience please redo the surveys using their phones so we can see if there's a change in the opinion. Please use the QR code on the screen or on the posters. Once again, great job to both teams, and the judges will now take a few minutes to deliberate, and we kindly ask you to remain with us. There will be about a 30-minute break while the judges deliberate and we get ready for the award ceremony. The award ceremony will be at 7:30 or earlier. Thank you.
Yo, Crowley.
It's a suit used for funeral direction. I wonder why.
No.
Move.
No. Thank you for your patience.
Howdy, everyone. We're just waiting for Ms. Bretner. She has the results. And I can't find her. So I just, we'll talk quietly amongst yourselves, and Ms. Bretner will appear, and then we'll announce it. We'll still be done early. No pressure. I said we'd announce when you arrived.
Yeah, well, Sylvia, I just briefed. She's actually ready to go. Yeah,
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. As this incredible debate event comes to a close, I'm honored to recognize the dedication and passion that each team has shown, not just today, but throughout the past few weeks. Over the course of this debate, these teams have tackled three major topics that are shaping our planet's future today: nuclear energy, large-scale data centers, and the transition to electric vehicles. These were not easy topics, and they challenged everyone to think critically about these up-and-coming issues. Every team here brought unique perspectives, powerful arguments, and intriguing statements that made this debate truly unforgettable. Before we announce the winners, I would want to take a moment to thank the judges for their time, insight, and fair evaluations, and of course a big thank you to the organizers, teachers, and volunteers who made this event run so smoothly. Firstly, I want to share the results from our survey. Here are the results from before the debate, and here are the results from after the debate. I am pleased to inform you that medals will be awarded to all winners in the coming weeks, allowing time for their names to be engraved. All participants will receive a certificate of participation. We will also announce the winners for the top speech and top rebuttal awards. Now, without further ado, let's announce the winners of the debate. I would like to call up Catherine Dugan, Prabnoor Vilku, Damola Mohammed, and Caleb Bonan. The resolution, be it resolved that Alberta should adopt nuclear energy as part of its electricity generation strategy. The final scores were 80 and 47. The proposition has effectively argued that nuclear energy should be adopted as part of Alberta's electricity strategy. Congratulations to the proposition.
Great job. Well debated. Thank you. Sir? Thank you very much.
Well done to both teams.
Great job.
Now, I would like to call up Emily McLaren, Tate Marsh, Sarah Shaheen, Bella Kim, Sione Kiwagu, and Baniat Vani for the resolution, be it resolved that Alberta should approve and support the establishment of large-scale data centers near Grand Prairie. The final scores were 53 and 32. The proposition has successfully demonstrated that establishing large-scale data centers near Grand Prairie would drive economic growth, create jobs, and position Alberta as a tech leader. Congratulations to the proposition.
Thank
you.
Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Great job. Good thing we practiced, right? Congratulations. Great job. Thank you.
Good job, guys. It was fun debating.
Yeah, great.
Very well done to both teams. Finally, I would like to call up Prisha Parmar, Carmen Catalan, UV Parashar, Prayesh Chotalia, and Neil Patel. For the resolution, be it resolved that Alberta should actively support and accelerate the transition to electric vehicles through investment in infrastructure and consumer incentives.
You guys, it's so good.
The final scores were 68 and 68. As stated in the opening remarks, the burden of proof is on the proposition side. Therefore, the opposition wins. Congratulations.
Sounds like the Oscars. Great job. Excellent job. Outstanding. Tied, and in a tie, opposition. proposition. Thank you. You did an outstanding job.
Very well done to both teams. Before we conclude, we would like to take a moment to recognize the exceptional performance of two debaters who stood out for their skillful delivery and sharp arguments. It is now time to announce the winners of the Best Speech and Best Rebuttal Awards. Congratulations to Sarah Shaheen for the Best Speech.
Go that way, okay? And then we're gonna shake hands, and you're gonna take that, and you're gonna look at your mother. Well done.
So good, Sarah. Thank you. And finally, congratulations to Neil Patel for the Best Rebuttal.
Right? Stand there. Take my hand. Take this. And smile at your parents wherever they are. They're not here. Oh, they're not here. Neil? Team tonight. Excellent job.
Congratulations to all our participants. You should be incredibly proud. Thank you to everyone who took part, supported, and attended. It truly means a lot. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening, and if every volunteer could please help clean up, that would be great. Thank you so much.
You are an outstanding